We're live. Hey,
Wow.
friends. Hey, Susan.
Hi.
Hey, so Facebook world and friends, I want to welcome you to the first official Success Faster live video series, podcast series. And I want to tell you what that is. And then I'm going to introduce my guest over here on this side. It's backwards. And we're going to cover some great material for you. So I'm Julie Nelson. I think you all know that I'm Julie Nelson, and it probably just says that right below my name right there. Okay, so the Success Faster live series is based on the book Success Faster: Quickly Launch or Relaunch Your Real Estate Career, Your Roadmap to Getting Started or Starting Over. I think y'all know this. I published a book on Amazon in January. It's helping a lot of agents coast to coast. About 10 days ago, we published the companion workbook that is helping agents and mastermind groups and brokers. It's helping folks implement what's laid out in the book. So that's the Success Faster live series. So look for more opportunities. We're going to roll out all sorts of interviews, and particularly, most often, occasionally it'll just be me solo, but really, ideally, what I want to do is bring people on that I think are really awesome and cool, and together we're going to bring some great content to the table for you to help you in your businesses. So I want to introduce my guest today. My guest is Susan Cook. Susan and we go back a few years, and I'm afraid to do the math actually, but
It's only about 5. I remember distinctly the time that I met you. You want me to relate it?
Let's go for it.
Okay. I remember sitting in front of you in one of the first masterminds for our particular area, productivity coaching, held at the Hilton in Austin.
Okay, yeah.
And you had your assistant with you.
I did? Okay.
Yes, you had your assistant. And I heard you speaking to the moderator, and I was like, oh my gosh, she has a whole team of coaches. Oh my gosh, I was like, oh my gosh, it's Julie Nelson. And then when I saw you in our new world, and I saw you had written a book, oh, there she is again. Oh my gosh.
It's really fun to reconnect. So Susan and I have both been, we were coaches in the Keller Williams system for years, and really helped a lot of agents over the years. And we have since then, we both have our own coaching practices. We're both with eXp Realty right now. And so Susan, just give the group, tell us your bio a little bit. What are you doing?
Well, I'm a real estate broker, and I've been in the business for 15 years.
Where are you again?
I'm in the Washington, D.C. area. I live specifically in Virginia.
How's the weather there today?
The weather is beautiful today. Very nice. 70 degrees. Thank God.
Sweet.
You know, it's been raining. Seems like it's been raining for months. But I ran a team.
Okay.
And had some of my most successful years in our previous company. I learned a lot, learned how to run a business, how to structure a business, and I did a lot of brokering and managing of agents while I was running a team. And our company allowed me to get a residual income if I brought people in based on the profit of the office.
Okay.
And I started looking at that and going, I need to start doing that. So I started teaching, and that was it. That was it. So within about a year, I had shut down my business, and I started teaching full-time, coaching, recruiting, and went into the leadership path that way. Recruited a lot of hundreds of people into the offices, built a couple of offices here in the area.
Okay.
And, I wanted to go into full time and have a little more freedom over, not be quite brand specific.
Sure.
So that was one of the reasons why I left and am now, in business for myself again, just like everybody else, relaunching, as it says in your book.
Yeah.
I've done it several times in the course of my career.
Yeah.
Probably about 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I write about that in the book. So I share my relaunches as well. And I think that most people have various relaunches. So thank you for sharing that. So I want to tell a little story about how you and I really ended up on this live broadcast podcast today. And this was, Susan and I just fairly recently kind of reconnected. We were participating in a couple of the same classes or masterminds online. And I saw that she was using this tool on Facebook. And I think you can see it in the corner of the screen, but I saw that she was using this tool called BeLive.tv. Well, it's a tool that you can use to do Facebook Live videos, but it records it and then I can post it on YouTube. So it's just a really cool way to do Facebook Live. Now there's a simpler way to do Facebook Live, and that is just doing Facebook Live. But I saw that Susan was using it, and I had intended to use it myself. And I had even started the account and I had set up the profile. But I know, a lot of you know me, and I'm pretty technically competent, and I like the cool tools and I like to play with technology. But for some reason, you might hear a dog bark occasionally on this podcast. That just comes with the scene in this space. And I have 3 dogs, and one of them does a little barking. He's old. So you might hear Shaw. Okay. So for some reason, this new tool was making me nervous. And I thought, and I started to play with it, and then I'd back off, and I'm busy. I've got other things going on. Oh, there's the dog. Awesome. And so I was just hesitant. So I thought, Susan is using it. And so I messaged her. I said, Susan, hey, you're using that BeLive TV. Can I run a few questions by you? So we jumped on a call. Within a half a day, we were on the phone call, and I relayed this story to you. And I said, hey, I really want to use it. Can you tell me how do you use it? Et cetera, et cetera. And I had this aha. I'm like, oh my God, you need to be my first interview, because now, here's the point I want to make to the main audience, is that having an accountability partner for something that you intend to do or you want to do, but for some reason or other, you're holding yourself back, just get an accountability partner. And here we are, and it's the first live broadcast, and I'm using this tool, and it's because Susan pushed me a little bit, and I took the challenge, and here we are. I mean, we just had that phone call conversation yesterday.
I know, right?
So to those of you that are listening to this podcast, I'd like to really encourage you to take that into consideration. It's like, what's one thing, either personally or professionally, that I've been intending to do that chances are you could probably push right through it or fix it within 24 hours by getting the right accountability partner signed up to help you.
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes back to the book, the one thing, the question, the focus question, right? Yes. What's the one thing you can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary?
Yeah.
So that's the key right there. We as coaches know that our words matter, right? Everything we say to ourselves, everything we say out loud, and we think, so what's the one thing I could do, which is an action word, such that by doing it, everything would be easier or unnecessary. And you see, it's really not that hard. But a lot of us get hung up on the details. It's like we don't understand it, so we won't do it, or we'll pay for something. How many agents do you know that's out there that have paid for something
and not used it?
I have a $7,000 website right now as we speak that I don't use.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So stop it. Fix it.
Yeah. Stop it. Don't do that. You know, take the credit card away, please.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but we all do it. I mean,
we do. We all do it. So Libby, so this is a good segue to the other stuff that we wanted to talk about. First, I wanted to tell everybody that we're keeping this to 30 minutes max. So in Central Time, it's 3:40 right now. We will be done by 4. So however long you want to hang out with us. And if for some reason you got to go, you can come back later because it'll be on my Facebook feed and eventually on my YouTube channel. And you can find me, the Nelson Project YouTube channel, where I have a series of Success Faster videos. So here was the topic. So Susan was talking, I mentioned mastermind and accountability. Susan was just talking about that principal concept in the one thing, which I believe you're a certified
trainer. Yeah,
you're a certified trainer with the one
I
thing.
love the book. The book put a lot of clarity into my life and changed my life in a lot of ways. You know, it has a lot of, it gives a little simplicity to what we try to complicate.
Yeah. So if you haven't, get the book, The One Thing. It's on my short list for sure. So here's what we want to talk about the rest of the time, and we've got about 15, 20 minutes, is Susan and I both coach realtors. Do you coach some non-realtors at all, or are you all realtors?
I coach some loan officers too, kind of informally, you know, some people that are on my team, you know, as we say.
Yeah. I do find that, if I may interject, I find that a lot of the coaching that we do with real estate professionals, it applies to just about anybody. It applies to entrepreneurs. It applies to sales professionals in all sorts of industries. So that might be my next book, is just removing the real estate language from that book that's in the background. So what we wanted to talk about is just some of our favorite coaching topics, and each of us have picked really just a couple. And these are topics that we find ourselves, so it's either one of two things. We either find ourselves having this conversation with agents or our clients or in classes, but we find ourselves having these conversations all the time, or it's one of our favorite topics or conversations to have with realtors and entrepreneurs. So Susan, let's start with you. And we talked about this a little bit before I hit the live button, but why don't you start with one of your favorite topics and tell us what that is and just a little bit behind it.
Okay, one of my favorite ones is affirmations.
Okay.
And the reason why is because I already said, you know, that our words have power and the way we talk to ourselves has power. So one of the first things that I like to implement in my coaching client relationships is the practice of putting affirmations and saying them twice a day.
Okay.
And the reason I say, you know, do that is another book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
He talks about doing affirmations twice a day and that they have to be systematically doing it. So the reason I do that is because it worked for me. I put them on my calendar and they get emailed to me because I use Google Calendar. And every day I get this email that has my full affirmation, and whether I believe it or not that day, I read it out loud, and then I start to see things start to change in my world. It dramatically.
How do you email it to yourself every day?
Google will email it to you. If you set yourself an appointment, a recurring appointment, and mine is at 6 a.m. and at 9 p.m. every day.
And it's the same.
It's the same paragraph. Yes.
Y'all, that's brilliant. I did not know this.
Yes. And so when you do that, before you go to bed, and Wayne Dyer said this too, you have to say your affirmations before you go to sleep, because that is what your subconscious gets activated.
Okay.
Right. And this is all about your mindset, the way you think about yourself, what you want to manifest in your life, and how it's going to happen, and be very, very specific about it. How much money do you want to make every month? How many contracts do you want to have every month? So when you do those things, they start to show up. And the reason why is because your subconscious is activated, and you start taking very small action steps towards those goals. Whether you know it or not,
whether you know it or not. How often do you change your affirmations?
I change them when I see somebody's got an affirmation. Another coach in our world, Jonathan, did a couple of classes on affirmations, and I really resonated with them.
Nice.
So I put that in there. I was watching Louise Hay the other day, and Louise Hay is a spiritual leader who wrote some books, and she was talking about looking in the mirror and talking to yourself and saying, you are so beautiful, whether you believe it or not, whether you believe it or not. And I was like, oh, I'm going to incorporate that, so it may, and I'll change it too. Just like your goals will change, so will your affirmations, so will your self-talk, so.
What's a favorite one of yours right now, if you would share?
I am releasing the brakes on my prosperity and success. I am letting go.
I'm releasing the brakes.
Yeah, I'm releasing the brakes on my prosperity.
My prosperity and success, or some version thereof. That's awesome.
I can tell you what it is. I am releasing the brakes by letting go of limiting beliefs and focusing on the certainty of my success. I am expanding my comfort zone every day by using affirmations that fill my subconscious mind with positive thoughts and images. I am constantly thinking, talking, and writing about the reality I want to create.
Nice.
And, it really does start showing up. And it's not any magic or anything like that. It really is activating my subconscious and making me take steps. And, because if I do this, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this.
Nice.
Now, if I make phone calls, I add people to my coaching program. My income increases. Then, I can take a vacation, take a cruise, whatever I want to do.
Nice. Nice. One of my favorite affirmations right now, and it's very simple, and I do this all the time, and it includes a little fist pump. But all it is I got this. I got this. I'm saying that all the time. I got this. I got this. I got this. So anyways, that's just a it
doesn't have to be fancy or flowery.
No,
it just has to mean something to you.
To you.
If it means something to you, it'll work. Yeah. And it emails me every day at 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. 7 days a week.
Cool. That is so cool.
9 p.m.
Okay. Early and late. All right. That's awesome. All right. So let's keep this moving. Here's one of my favorite topics. I'm just going to introduce it. But one of my favorite topics I like to talk about is being a good boss to yourself. So, and the joke goes like this: the good news about being in real estate is that you are your own boss. And what's the bad news?
You're your own boss.
You are your own boss. So, I find that the majority of realtors and entrepreneurs that they have to work on this. It's like being a good boss, where there's so many shiny objects out there. It's so easy to get distracted. So how well am I really running me? Am I getting the most important things done first? Do I just look busy? Am I busy with the right things, or am I busy with the wrong things? How accountable am I to my goals? And I could go on for an hour on this topic, but like, ask yourself the question at the end of every day, like, would I hire me based on today, based on this week, would I hire me? So I find, and believe me, it is not a straight line towards perfection in this department for most people, or for me myself. So I find that I ask myself that question regularly. It's like, based on what I did today and what I got done or what I didn't get done, or what my focus was, or how distracted I was or was not with social media, would I hire me based on today? And for me, it's a bit of a course corrector. It's like, oh no, not today. Today I would not hire me. Maybe yesterday. Yesterday I would hire me. Today, I don't know. I might put myself on probation today if I keep this up. But for me, that's an important dialogue on this topic, so that I'm getting the most important things done, so that I can move forward with my plans and my business and my financial goals, etc. So, okay. So you talked about affirmations. I talked about being a good boss. What's another top?
Another one of my favorite ones is time management, your schedule. My clients all have to email me their schedule. It's due on Sunday night. And I send them, when we start our relationship, I send them an example. And even if they don't have appointments set up for the week.
Oh, you talked about this. Go on. This is a really good point.
Put it in your schedule, and then working towards putting a name in there.
So
go ahead and have the appointment. Just have it in your schedule.
So tell me, am I on track here? So I'm a realtor, and maybe I have a fair amount of business, but not as much as I intend to have. So I'm working towards that. But on my schedule, let's say every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday afternoon, I've got maybe 6 appointment slots fixed in there that are designed to meet with a buyer or seller, correct?
Well, I find that many is going to be overwhelming.
That's too many.
So I would say 3.
3.
Okay, 3 2-hour meeting slots, and you may want to do Tuesday night.
Okay.
Or Tuesday afternoon, Thursday night.
Okay.
Saturday morning.
And Saturday morning.
And then showings in Saturday afternoon.
So those are always there in your schedule, and they're waiting for you to put a name on them. But that way, you're protecting your schedule for that very important part of your business.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Right.
It's really simple. I like it.
And then, then you can have your, lead generation time in the morning. You can work on your business in the afternoon. If you don't have an assistant yet, go to your networking events and things like that. Have lunch and coffee with your allied resources and your potential clients. I knew a guy at one of my offices that worked on the Hill for years. And this was like brilliance. He never came into the office until around 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
Guy did probably about 600 to 800 in GCI, just a husband and wife team. He would go to the Hill every morning.
Oh.
And he would just start knocking on doors and asking people to go to lunch.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. He probably still does. He's still in the business. And that's all he did. That's all he did.
So every day he had a lunch date.
And client parties. Yeah. But he, 3 times a week. So that's another thing, don't eat alone. Don't ever eat alone. Set up coffee dates with people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to say that I like this coffee and lunch thing, and coffee's cheaper. So if you're watching the dollars, coffee's cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can't afford to take people out to lunch all the time. It's like, fine, then just roll with coffee for a while. Okay, be true to your budget. Okay, so here's another topic, and we have about 4 minutes left. But purposely on this broadcast, we're giving you just a very high level taste of some of what this podcast is going to deliver. And I'll bring Susan back sometime. I know she will. If I ask her, she will. So here's another topic. Okay, so we talked about affirmations. I talked about being a good boss. Susan talked about time management and putting those key appointments on your calendar, even though there's not a name assigned to them. And then one of my favorite topics is just simply your pipeline in your business, because it really is the health of your business. And it represents the money work. And so the concept of do the money work first means, so anyone who's in sales, did I add somebody to my pipeline today, or did I nurture any of the leads or the potential clients in my pipeline today? And that's it. So what if you ask yourself that question every day? It's like, well, what can I do today to either add somebody to my pipeline or to nurture a lead that's already there? And that needs, as business professionals and as a good boss in my own business, I need to make sure that I've really anchored that in place. So ask yourself the question, am I making that a priority? And this is the busy with the right things topic. So you say, oh, I'm so busy. It's like, well, we're all really busy, but you have to ask yourself. And kind of at the end of every day, it's like, okay, I was really busy today. Was I busy with the right things? Did I prioritize that? Did I prioritize that correctly? So, and I know that you coach a lot on pipeline and the management of that, and it's just a huge topic for every realtor.
Yeah. And I keep a pipeline. I'm in the business of adding people and contacts and clients to my business in a couple of different ways. So that is another thing that I wanted to kind of bring up, since we're right here at the end.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned very quickly in coaching, when I was first getting into coaching, was my coach being coached?
Oh, yeah. Does the coach have a coach?
I have a coach.
I do.
I have a coach. Yeah. Anybody that really values coaching has a coach and has mentors and has accountability partners. Yeah. So when you're interviewing a coach, make sure they're being coached as well.
Yeah. I think so. I think so too. Oh shoot! I lost my thought. I lost my thought on that. Oh, it was gone. There it was. It was gone. It's Friday afternoon. It's been a long day.
It is.
Well, whatever it was, it'll come up in another podcast. Okay, so y'all, this was fun. I'm so glad for everyone who was able to tap in. Stay tuned. There'll be more and more and more of these podcasts. I'll invite Susan back at some time here.
I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me, Julie. I really have enjoyed this, and
it's really fun.
We'll see you guys out there in video world.
Good. Thanks for accommodating this into your schedule. I'm so super pleased that it worked, and it's so fun to reconnect with you, and especially in this way. What a blast.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all around. Spread the word. Success Faster Live. Oh, you can get the book on Amazon, paperback, Kindle, Audible, It's me on Audible. So if you have the Audible, I'll be hanging out in the car with you or on your walks and your jogs. So it's kind of fun. Unless you're me and you're listening to me in my car, and then that's a little weird. But I'm getting used to it. Okay. Thanks. Thanks, y'all. Take care. Bye.
Bye.